Hey guys, we've all been there before. You're sitting at your desk, you're doing some great work, you're in the flow, in the zone, and all of a sudden somebody comes and just drama dumps all sorts of crap on you. And you're sitting there like, whoa, where the heck did this come from? I'm certainly not that problem. And we're defensive and we're heated and argumentative right back. And all we really want, and all you really want, is for someone to bring you their issues like an adult. Respect you enough to know that you're going to have a conversation, that you want to be included and that you want to be consulted, and that you really just want to understand the issue more so you can solve it. And ultimately just show you some respect. Now I'm here to share with you, this is not a myth. This is not a fairy tale. This in fact is something that we're going to work towards in this video so that you don't have to react in these moments, but you can engage in a way that's going to support you and your goals in this relationship. So in today's video, I want to share with you 4 tips to stay calm in an argument. And this is really going to be your playbook to change the dynamic in your relationships and kind of balance out the power and maybe tip it to your side a little bit. Now be sure to watch all 4 tips. And I'm going to say this because tip number 4 is probably the hardest for most people to implement. And once you get tip number 4 figured out, it will be your secret sauce. Hi, my name's Tammy, and I'm your guide to mastering courageous conversations. And I share this because I want you to build a career where you are respected, appreciated, and empowered. Now, I've been teaching communication skills for quite a while, and one of the concepts that tends to be a game changer for a lot of people is the concept around climate, the climate in a relationship. And really, you can liken that to a weather system, whether it's a sunny day or a rainy day. And when people kind of see this visual of like, oh, I get it. She's coming in as a storm cloud, and if I come in as a storm cloud, we're going to have clashing thunderbolts. And so how can I show up in a different way to decrease the effect of this thunderstorm that's just come my way? And so what I'm going to teach you today are tools that help you decrease this negative thunderstorm that's coming your way or that you find yourself in so that you can create a better weather day. Now, along with this concept of a weather pattern and the climate in a relationship, the first tip is to notice it and recognize when someone's trying to lure you in to having an argument. Now, sometimes this can be really obvious. Other times, it just blindsides us so much that we're just in it without even thinking about it. So tip number 1 is don't be lured in. And these are some of the signs to watch for. If someone's voice is raising and they're getting louder and they're talking directly at you with very offensive terms, or they're very accusatory, or perhaps they're even saying questions that are not real questions. We call them counterfeit questions. And you'd recognize them because they often trap you. For example, you didn't like what I said back there, did you? There's only one way to go, and if I don't want to cause another fight, I'm going to have to say, no, I loved what you said. So those kind of questions are meant to create more tension. Of course, there's lots of movements, and people who are in an argument and feel like they need to defend themselves will get big and take up space. So we want to counter that with a different energy. Remember, thunderstorm over here, loud, raising voices, big, big, big. If I come in with that, we're going to be clashing thunderbolts and things are just going to get worse. So instead, we're going to come in with a calmer energy. So what we're going to do instead is take a breath or take a break. That's the first thing. And give yourself permission to let that wave of defensive reactionary emotion pass through you. We're not denying its existence, we're acknowledging it and saying, I'm going to go to a better place. This can happen in an instant, or it may take some time. So if you know yourself to be like, when I get riled up, I'm heated and I'm there for a while, you're going to be taking a break. And you're going to just put them on pause and say, hey, I want to talk to you about this, but it can't be right now. Let's set a time. You put some control back into this agenda. Once you are ready, you're going to come in with a calm, slow energy. We want to dissipate this thundercloud and these thunderstorms that are happening around us. So we're going to come in with the opposite energy. This means we're not going to get big, which is counterintuitive because we want to get big. Instead, we're going to stay smaller, but controlled. And so we're still here. I'm still with you, I'm not avoiding. I'm looking at you. I'm square to you. I'm leaning in, or I'm standing here with a very open posture. And we're going to talk about this issue you've brought to me in a very calm manner. Now, there's many benefits to coming in slow, calm, and relaxed. First is emotions are contagious. And we know that because when the aggressor is coming in all heated and big and angry, we want to get heated and big and angry, and that won't solve anything. So we already know emotions are contagious. So if we come in at a different level, lower, hopefully they will notice that and they will de-escalate as well. The second thing is it's a pattern interrupt, right? There's an expectation that you're ready for a fight. And when you don't fight back, there's like wait, what's going on? Why aren't you angry? Why am I not pushing your buttons? And so they ended up being interrupted in their thought process as well. Now, one thing you may need to do here is to set a boundary. So first of all, if they're coming in and they're aggressive, we want to set that boundary and say, hey, this behavior is not appreciated or tolerated. And a lot of people struggle to do that. So in the description box below, you're going to see there are the 10 safe conversation starters. These are designed to help you stop 10 of the most common offensive behaviors known in the workplace with one scripted sentence. So you may need to use that first to address that offensive behavior and set the stage and the boundaries of how this conversation will go forward, keeping your energy calm and low. Now, it also reduces our own emotional hijack when we take that breath and that break. It keeps us in a engagement phase as opposed to a reaction phase. And it increases our feelings of self-control and empowerment. So there's many benefits to those first two stages of take a breath, take a break, and slow things down. Do not match their energy. Come in lower. Now, I want to share with you how this worked with Martine, because Martine is a general manager in a resort inn and spa. And when she first took on her role there, as she said to me, every day was an opportunity for her to practice her communication skills. It was very toxic. There was a lot of conflict and some bullying happening in that place. And she described how she used to react like when someone would come to her with this issue and they're all heightened and they're escalated, she would be like right up there with them, like, the sky is falling. Oh my God, the sky is falling. And they're both up here in this heated, anxious energy and feeling like they're spinning wheels. They're not resolving problems. They're putting out fires. And for Martine, what she shared with me is that the biggest take home for her in our time together was to learn how to take a moment, to step out of that reaction and into purposeful engagement. Now, I'd love for you to share with me in the comments below if you have experienced or if you have been the one in the position to create a de-escalation by your presence. All right, so time for tip number 3. You need to know your intention. So it's hard to know that when we're in a reaction. So sometimes this is the work we do ahead, or this is the work we do in that break. And sometimes afterwards when things didn't go so well and we need to come back and revisit that conversation. But what is it you really want in this relationship? Now, I'm not saying, what is it that I want in this moment? Because in this moment you might be triggered and what you really want them is to get their face out of your face. But that's not going to solve the problem. So you need to go 5 layers deep. And to help you, you can ask yourself these questions. How do I want people to experience me when we have conflict? How do I want to be seen as a team leader, a team member, a colleague, and a friend? And really figure out what it is that you truly want. And yet let that be your guide when you get into these conversations, because you will be rocked off your island. Let me tell you, my 3 core values are caring, curiosity, and connection. And when I am in defensive mode, I am neither caring nor curious or connected. And I know that I've been put over here and I don't like it. So I have to find my way to get back to my 3 core values, because that's what I want people to experience when they're with me. Now, understanding your intention is going to make tip number 4 so much easier to implement. But before we get into it, I'm going to ask you a question that might help you slide into this one a little bit easier. Now, because this tip is often hard to do, I want you to think first of a time when you were struggling, when you were frustrated, when you were in the argument with somebody. And ask yourself, what did I need? What did I really want from this other person? What would have made me happy? And again, deeper layers, not superficial. And share those answers below in the chat, because what I sense, what I think is going to happen is you're going to see there's a pattern, that a lot of you are looking for the same thing when you're upset with somebody else. And this, my friend, will be your secret power, and I'm going to unpack that for you. So the chances are you probably landed on something about how you wanted to feel heard, to be seen, to be respected for what you've just gone through, to be validated. And those are the core things that people are fighting for and defending when they come to you and they're upset. Now, think about what you needed. Here is your clue to slip into tip number 4, because tip number 4 is to understand your critic and even agree with your critic. That's a more advanced skill set, but we're going to start with understanding your critic. And this starts with knowing intentionally what it is that they truly want. And if you know that you wanted to be heard and to be seen, you can gift them the ability to be heard and to be seen. Now, let me share with you that hearing, seeing, validating, and acknowledging somebody else does not mean you agree with. Two totally different concepts. But in tip number 4, you're really just saying to somebody, hey, I see you are frustrated, or I hear you have a problem with XYZ. I hear you, I see you, and I want to work on this with you. Because it sounds like you really want to solve this. You're communicating in ways that respects what they're bringing to you without acknowledging the heat in which they brought it to you with, because we're more concerned about the context than we are about the how. But if we need to address the how, that's your 10 safe conversation starters. So there's a real 3-step process that you can use to help really embody tip number 4. One is simply validate their lived experience. Man, this sounds like it's a big problem. Or wow, you sound like you're really frustrated over this. Just validate it. 2, find a place of agreement. This is the more advanced strategy we teach inside the program, but find a place of agreement. And there is a lot of ways to find agreement. Odds, perspective, perception, principle, and even just agree to disagree. There are ways in which we can come to an agreement to bring us together. And then 3 is to be curious before furious. Ask questions. What led you to this conclusion? What is it that was missing for you? What would it look like if you had this ahead of time? Understand their lived journey, because once you understand it, you will get to resolution much faster. And you'll become a master at staying calm in arguments and resolving more problems than you create. Now listen, I know that these short videos offer a ton of gold, but sometimes you need a little bit more support to get through these things. So if you are looking for a coach or a program to support you in resolving these issues so you can get back to living that peaceful, productive life, perhaps you need to reclaim your reputation and put your career back on track, then check the link out below where you can book an epiphany call, a discovery call with me, and we'll talk about your situation. I'll get an understanding as to what you need and where you can go. And if I think you're the right fit for this program, I'll invite you in. But I have to be honest right off the hop, not everybody's ready to do this kind of work. So if you are ready, I'll invite you into the program. And if you're not, I'll give you some strategies that you can move forward with until you are ready. Now, if you've enjoyed the content in this video, please share that in the comments below. Again, I do read them all and I write back. And I celebrate you for your successes, and I support you through your struggles. So comment, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share this with 5 friends. Why 5? Because all 5 of your friends are going through the same kind of drama in their workplaces, and at some point, they're going to need these tips, and they're going to thank you for sharing that with them. Thanks for watching, and remember, you're only one conversation away.